not at any point been like completely without a series for an extended period and having to wait and wait and wait. So yeah, thank you so much everyone that's joined us. It's been a nice long grind. 8.5 hours into the stream. This is going to be a 9-hour stream. Let's see how this goes. As we do have to the bottom right, our red Protoss player from Cascade. It's DnS. He's up against the blue Zerg, who we've been following for the last couple of matches. It's Namshar. Namshar's had some close ones, though. He struggled a little bit in the first game against Geralt, and he ended up dropping that. He struggled a little bit in the first game against Insane, I still think. And so, let's see if he can maybe make this happen this time around. Let's see if he can find everything he needs to come up against DnS, who's really not had a great time against Zergs in these qualifiers, specifically yesterday losing to Bly and Starbuck. Players you don't really expect DnS to lose to, but at the same time they're also players who play very differently than Namshar. Bly and Starbuck are both very aggressive players. They are players who really come in and attack you and play cheesy strategies and things you don't usually see in weird timings. Whereas Namshar is much more the sort of straight up and standard player. The player who, the sort of player that DnS will dream of playing against, because he is someone who loves to play the macro game. He loves to play macro. He loves to play, expand into the bases, taking multiple expansions, just playing it out nice and slow, going into carriers to end out the game and all the rest of it, That's what DnS loves to do, so we'll see how he approaches Namshar here. We'll see if he can qualify on his final attempt. It's the 4th time he's been in a qualifying match. Let's see if he can make it happen this time around. Some good runs from DnS throughout the brackets elsewhere, by the way. I mean, on his way here today, obviously he came straight through the winner's bracket. Before losing to Hellraiser, he did take down TLO, Skilius, and Nerazim. So he had a pretty good run, players you might not have heard of, but they're high up level kind of Protoss players, and obviously TLO, obviously you have heard of. So he's shown some good kind of skill today. He's been waiting a little while for Namshar, probably about 4 hours or so, honestly, for him to complete this lower bracket run. The lower bracket has taken a long time to catch up. Stargate comes down from DnS on the side of the main base already. First Adept is coming across, of course. DnS looking to pick up whatever information he can. Namshar will get his third hatchery down now before the Adept becomes an issue, trying, potentially slowing that down here. As we are going to be seeing this Adept comes over, we'll check the third base right away. One of the first things he wants to see. And of course, after seeing that, that's some good info for him. As we are going to be having the shade forwards, just checking the mineral line, trying to see whatever saturation he can. And there's a very kind of, again, typical of Namshar, pneumatized carapace upgrade starting to come on through. 2 Adepts going to be continuing to come on along. And going to be continuing to move on in. A couple of people asking about any updates on Clem's game against Rail. Well, Clem is 1-0 up in that series. And he's 1-0 up. He's currently 140 to 120 supply, but he's about to lose a medevac of Widow Mines here in 9 minutes into game 2. He's got the Protoss onto 2 bases against his own free base. It's 1-1 against +2 upgrades. This fight actually might be about to determine the game there, so I'm just going to leave this on for a moment or two as Clem. He stims. Oh my god, the Stalker's just blinked into Widow Mines, and the Warp Prism may go down because of that, because it also got splashed onto. Clem is being pushed back a little bit, though, and his Widow Mines are now down. And it looks as though Rail might be pushing through for a victory in game number 2. We'll leave that up and see what's going to happen as these units push in. Meanwhile, we'll kind of just continue to watch this PvZ, but about every observer I click on is currently watching these Adepts. Is that just me? No, there we go. A few lings over here as well. There's the push in from Clem, by the way, on the picture-in-picture. Oh, he gets a Widow Mine or 2 forwards, but not enough necessarily. A few more Warpins coming in from Rail. Clem is just struggling to hold on. There's only 1 Colossus left. You might just have to pull in another few SCVs just to tank a little bit to let the Bio get on top and deal the damage it needs to do. I think he already lost a bunch of his SCVs. Clem's trying to hold on for his life at the moment. As we do see this ZVP as well. Just continuing to Resonating Glaives here, so DnS looking to be aggressive. Here we go, though, from Clem. That might be the move to end this game as he pushes in. The Colossus has to lift up a Disruptors on this way out. Oh, I think Clem's dead. I think Rail has just about managed to micro that to tie it up 1-1. I think he's just about managed to tie that up 1-1. Disruptor comes through, doesn't really connect. Oh, it's so close, but Clem's running out of SCVs, and that's the issue. He has to pull SCVs again here to try and hang on once again. And I think that really is going to be what ends that game for Clem. And it is going to be Rail to take game at number 2. So that series is tied up 1-1 there, guys, between Clem and Rail. Alright then, for us back in towards this ZVP, because the Adepts are just coming across the map. We mentioned that Resonating Glaives, and we do see with the Resonating Glaives, obviously the attack coming through as Namshar already is making sure there's no drones over here to really be under attack, and just a recall from DnS to get back away once again. So just going to recall away, and meanwhile we do see the roach speed currently on the way up right now for Namshar +1 missile attack, but already immortal production, so it's not as though DnS is just going to be caught out without a real answer to roaches or anything. It's not like it's super fast aggressive roaches either. It's 54 drones, probably more drones on the way up in the near future too. It's not like the Stefano games we saw earlier that was super aggressive. We have a ton of roaches and roach speed from like 40 to 45 workers. I'm just going to be seeing the Hydralisk Den dropping down behind this mineral line. Namshar continuing to tech his way up into this game. Seeing what he can set up towards. Just going to be seeing the Hydralisk Den about to finish up. The Oracle comes in and does tag a few roaches, a queen, a few drones. Templar Archives from DnS starting up on the back of this main base, and the Phoenix just patrolling off over to the right hand side, watching for those drops. We've seen Namshar multiple times today dropping with 5 Overlords towards the main and the natural of DnS, and, well, not DnS, but of other Protoss players. As we do see the Sentries, Adepts, and the Immortal from DnS still looking kind of powerful right now, still looking kind of scary here. And we've seen a few Zerglings going down. What is kind of nice though is that Namshar does have quite a lot of units because of the Roach play. And Roaches always look scary in terms of the numbers of them in the game. As we are going to be seeing the Oracle is actually getting some serious work done right now. I mean, a couple of Ravagers killed off already. And that's going to be pretty sick as we do see this Ravager continue to pull back away up the right hand side. Storm is on the way up right now from DnS, so he's moving in towards the further kind of sets attack for himself to keep on holding on. As we do have this Oracle to the right side, not going to be able to do too much else. So, I mean, neither player really committing into the other, neither player really taking damage or anything like that. A 4th hatchery in the top right hand corner. As we see +2 missiles on the way up. And we're just going to be seeing Namshar dropping down the Hydralisk Den and Groove Spines. Obviously the Lurker Den is something which is going to really change the kind of course of this game in terms of what might happen. And the Oracle getting a good scout on just how far along that is. He knows it's now about a minute or so until Hydralisk hit the field, so that's pretty nice. As we are going to be seeing Namshar of the Roaches and the Ravagers trying to see what else is going on. The Queen pushing through, and the Oracle is going to take a little bit of damage. A couple of Adepts coming over, and they will start to work their way through a couple of these drones here, and oh my god, this is actually huge. Already just 6-7 drones. I mean, at this stage of the game, for only 2 Adepts, 9 workers is amazing. Wow. That's really, really nice. And as we do see the +2 missiles, the +1 Carapace continue to come along right now for Namshar. This Lurker Den is, well, just about to finish up. As we do see some more units just moving forwards and really looking to see if they can maybe get some presence on the map. Cleaning up some of the creep spread would be, of course, fantastic. Ten more Hydras on the way out here. Players again to that stage where obviously the armies are becoming very formidable, where Namshar might want to start trading out against some of these Protoss units. DnS might even be starting to look for a bigger push here or there as well. Namshar, the Lurker Den finishing is obviously one of the big things that allows him to maybe be a bit more aggressive in the games. This Oracle getting attacked here by the Queen, and just going to be seeing the couple of units from DnS coming over to come in and pick his way through a couple of Crypt Tumors now. Just a few Crypt Tumors just going down, and just going to be seeing the few Hydras heading off over to the left-hand side. Carapace upgrade will finish up shortly, the +2 missiles as well. And the Muscular Augment's also about to finish up with 12 Hydras on the way out. I see a bunch of these Overlords loading up a whole bunch of units, and they are going to come on over here. Getting ready to drop in towards that main base as we were just talking about, as we've been mentioning that Namshar loves to do, that we've seen so many times today. Scouted by a Zealot though, and so now all of a sudden DNS knows about it. I mean, already warping in a ton of units here, an Archon and a bunch of Zealots, and they're just going to be waiting for those units to drop down into them. And even an Oracle coming over to maybe try and help out a little bit here or there. First couple of Hydras go down so quickly, and the Oracle coming through. The Stasis Ward gets targeted down. Nice idea. This isn't actually enough though for DNS, and so Namshar gets a lot done. Now already, I mean, targets that are going to be prioritized. I mean, the Forge definitely, but the recall comes in. Ooh, a couple of Storms and a high temp, a couple of Storms and a Mortal, but he only gets to drop one of the Storms. DNS is making a lot of mistakes right now. I mean, that could have been 4 Storms in total, but it's only 1. That's obviously very painful, as we're going to be seeing Namshar fighting over here. There's a few Storms left on these High Templar, and Namshar gets so much done with this. Money in the bank to rebuild with too. Looking good right now for Namshar after that little skirmish. Definitely preferred that for him rather than DNS. Just going to be seeing a bunch of these Lurkers continue to morph on in right now for Namshar. As these Lurkers morph in, they can come down to the south side. They can get ready to potentially push on through. We'll be seeing a few of these Zealots going to get taken down very quickly indeed. Few Lurkers do burrow, and we are going to be seeing Namshar just working on the rocks so he can make some more progress. And with the Lurkers now, it becomes much harder for DNS to fight these armies. First Storm to the left-hand side is good though, wards away a few of those units at least. You know, we're going to see the Lurkers burrowing now. Big Storms all over the place. Those Lurkers are getting crushed. The Archons on the left side are beautiful, because that's going to allow DNS to take a much better fight than he maybe should have done here, but he loses detection on the last few Lurkers. Not all of them revelated, the Observer targeted down, and that means that DNS now was not able to clean up then. He took a heavy loss towards the end. I loved that fight for DNS until he lost the Observers, the detection. Just going to be seeing Hydras heading over to the right side, going to be loading up into these Overlords. And get ready to drop into the main base in the next few moments. Lurkers working their way through. A few units at the front here. So you can see some Zerglings running along, and they are going to be shut down pretty quick. DNS well positioned for this, but how's this next drop going to do in the main? DNS going up to the carriers, by the way. That's generally his win condition, but we're going to be seeing these Lurkers dropping down. We're going to have the Hydras. Actually, with the Lurkers here, going to be able to kind of work their way through a few Zealots, so that's really nice already. The kind of initial defense of DNS shut down. Forward base now under attack once again. Mothership here to change this up a little bit compared to before. Where are the Lurkers? I actually don't know where the Lurkers are, honestly. I mean, obviously a couple of them over here, but is that all of them? These Immortals are taking some damage. Where's the detection? DNS, you need detection here, buddy. Observer comes in, but he gets an Immortal still. I mean, that's fantastic. Is that the only Lurkers? There's a couple over here that just didn't take part of the fight. +3 missile attacks on the way. 17 Corruptors being produced right now as well. Continuing to fly on out here with these Zealots going to run on in towards the main. A few Hydras coming on over, and they will be able to get rid of a whole bunch of these Zealots quite quickly though, so that's a nice little shutdown. Going to be seeing a few of these Crypt Tumors being picked away at, so bunch of Crypt going down right now. Again, a couple of Lurkers and Hydras are going to be in a little bit of trouble. But the Broodlords are here to maybe save the day. But of course, that's where DNS has the carriers. You know, he's got the carriers here to maybe come and take part in the fights, and that can definitely work out very well for him. And the carriers really have been, again, when we saw DNS playing earlier, the thing he goes into that then basically guarantees him the win, but we'll see if it's going to be the case here. Namshar, and we losing a Broodlord in the front. That was just morphing the rest of his Broodlords in the front. Not actually much support on the ground. Where is the ground support? In the top right, dealing with that little bit of a run by there for a moment. Dark Shrine on the way in the main base. Another Stargate on the way down too. Plus one flyer attacks or air weapons coming in for DNS also. Makes those interceptors a little bit better. Continue to push down the left. We're going to be seeing Broodlords, Hydras, Corruptors. I just don't feel like this army is so very strong for Namshar. Is that just me? It's so Hydra heavy still. A couple of Storms and that army's going to be disappearing. Feels like DNS has the army to take it on. So let's see I mean, now's the kind of moment of truth, right? As he starts to run on forwards, you are going to be seeing the first couple of storms coming in here. Doesn't really land on much initially. He wards away a few of the Hydras, but that's about it. Obviously, the carriers are going to get to start coming into play here very soon, but the first set of intercepts is already going down. Another storm just kind of shaving the surface of this army. A couple of birds in the back help to get rid of that forward nexus. So DnS loses that once again. Meanwhile, some Zealots are running by into the natural. Queen Transfuse keeping the Spine Crawler alive. Namshar, good to keep that going at that point in time, considering he is mostly focusing on this fight at the front. Continue to push on forwards, and DnS is giving him some space because he needs the interceptors back on the carriers. A lot of DnS's army supply is still in 4 carriers, which are in production at the moment. He just needs to get rid of these last few Hydras. If the Hydras go down, the carriers can clean up, but the Hydras aren't disappearing, and DnS's army, well, the Immortals are going down, and now the carriers are kind of on their own. He needs the interceptors, and he just doesn't have them right here. Zealot's going to charge back in, up in the upper left-hand side again. I mean, that's great. I mean, this is good damage. It's good counterattacks that slow Namshar down and even force some more units to turn back around. I mean, now the Broodlord's unprotected because the Hydra's turned back away. Namshar's made a mistake. He's pulling his Broodlords away because he has to. I mean, here come the Hydras back in, but if the carriers target the Hydras now, there's enough of them because the interceptor numbers have risen up, and so DnS will start to turn this around. Namshar continues to lose Broodlord after Broodlord after Broodlord. Yes, the counterattack was dealt with by this 1DT, but Namshar is losing every single one of those Sky units that's so very valuable. The 1DT nearly became a hero as those Overseers continue to get targeted down. 27 more Hydras on the way up, as another couple of carriers are going to be coming into play here any second now. The carrier count just got so good for DnS, and that might make the difference in this game, because Namshar's tech to deal with carriers is literally Hydralisks, and he doesn't have the money to build like a Massive Corruptors or anything all of a sudden, so that's really painful. Yeah, just down here, get that pile, and the one big thing for DnS is the lack of a fifth base. Lost this base here as well during that fight, so his economy is definitely stifled, but can his standing army maybe just about be good enough to get something done here? It's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility with this many carriers on the map. You can never doubt that sort of carrier number, really. As we are just going to be seeing these few Hydras still moving around. Namshar's going to start splitting his army. We saw him do this against Geralt. It worked well for him, but it's a much earlier stage of the game when he started to split the army up crazily like this. Well, let's see. He finds himself some probes and an Archon or two over here. First storms are good to push those Hydras back. Oh no! The Archon dies to his own storm. Towards the bottom left, a couple of carriers are headed. A couple of Zealots warp in, even just to tank some damage, but the base goes down. And the lack of income now from DnS might really start becoming an issue. Also losing the bottom left is huge. Meanwhile, guys, very quickly going to put the picture-in-picture up because Clem is taking a fight that might send him through the WCS Challenger. He's just taken down the Protoss army. There's only a Colossus left for Clem to qualify for Challenger. He's on the verge. He's about to do it, guys. Our 16-year-old. Making history here as we're going to be seeing those Corruptors coming in for the carriers. There it is. Clem qualifies for Challenger. Very well played by Clem, but right now these Corruptors are getting rid of carriers one after the other, and Namshar has the bases and the income with 80 drones to do trades like this. DnS does not have the income to be replacing carriers. He does not even begin to have that sort of income. DnS is in trouble. +1 flyer attack is just on the way up from Namshar. He's got even more Corruptors on the way through. Hydras as well. There's just nothing in this army anymore from DnS. Yes, there's 4 High Templar, double storm on each of them, but once they're gone, these carriers are nothing. They're so easily taken down. Namshar's playing the safer game, maybe attacking around this for a moment or two, although losing a couple of Corruptors for free definitely isn't the safer game. He is going to be able to caustic spray down this Nexus, though, and at the same time, bottom left will go down. DnS cancels that over there. I mean, he is just going to kill the central base of Namshar, which is something, right? Now he begins to recall onto this base. The recall will come through, and these Corruptors have to get away. Oh my god, the recall was cancelled because the Nexus went down just in time. I mean, that must have been split-second level. I'm just going to be seeing the Hydras continue to come on through, and we are going to be seeing these probes continue to go down. I mean, so many workers dropping here. Going to be seeing DnS pulling all the way back down to the south side, as we are going to have this DT is just going to be backing away off to the left-hand side. I mean, Namshar's got this game won in the bag, I think, at this point. He's just got a little bit of chaos at the top side of the map to deal with, and then he has to fight the carriers, although then again, looking at this now Namshar doesn't have the money to keep on rebuilding. If he takes a couple bad fights, these carriers, Maybe they can still carry DnS through to victory. Maybe he can still make this happen. Oh, Corruptor's on their own. The Hydra's on here to help. The first Storm's good. DnS can't afford to lose the Interceptors, by the way, as they actually take some Storm damage. If he loses Interceptors... if he loses Interceptors, he's in trouble. So let's see his Unity on the left-hand side. A lot of Hydras moving around. I mean, this is scary though, because I mean, I feel like this army's splitting up a little bit, but I guess there we go. The Corruptors from the north coming on in. The Storms come down. The Corruptors are just going to be too much here to get rid of, I think. The Hydras are avoiding the fight because they know that coming in later to this fight is going to be a little bit better for them, perhaps. As the carriers go down, DnS, well, he's left with, what, a couple of Storms to fight these Hydras? He's left with a couple of Storms, a carrier, and a couple of Archons. Namshar, I mean, even just spamming Zerglings right now could be a game ender. Corruptors come back in to get rid of the Mothership and the carrier here as another Storm goes down. Namshar kites away. 78 army supply to 21, and 21 minutes in. Man, we've had some epic games here today. We've had some back and forth games, and this really is one of them right here. It's going to be seeing Hydras and Corruptors gathering up. Archon is coming through. Hydras and Corruptors still gathering together, and we are going to be seeing these few units up the left-hand side. A few Archons, a few Zealots. It's just not enough. There's too much Hydra here. Too many Hydras here. Too much Hydra DPS. Oh man, DnS is going to be a little bit kind of mentally kind of distraught here, surely. Yes, this isn't the end of the series, right? But he's going to be 0-1 down in yet another qualifying match against Zerg. This has to start to get into his mind a little bit as Namshar takes game number 1. What a game! Game number 1. This is the top right side. Our Red Protoss player down a map. Can he fight back from Cascade? It is DnS. Going up against the Blue Zerg player to the bottom left-hand side, Namshar. Okay then. Oh my god, I got a little bit tired, guys. This could be our last map of the day if Namshar can take it and qualify through the Challenger as the very final player. Clem has just qualified through the Challenger. Can Namshar do it too? And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Quick moment while I run the ads for the ad break, guys. 2-minute ad break, 3-minute ads. Doesn't add up. The Lord is going to be moving on up towards the upper right hand side. A Nexus from DnS is on its way up. A Cybernex core as well. As we do see players just getting themselves established here in this game number 2. Long day. Long day. Guys, if you enjoyed the stream so far, do remember to hit that follow button. If you're a Twitch Prime user, make sure you hit us up with that Twitch Prime sub. If you enjoy the content enough to use your Twitch Prime sub here, guys, of course. If you're a fan of StarCraft, then I'm glad we've been able to entertain you today. Hopefully. So these are some great games. We cast a lot today. Some really good matches, honestly. We're seeing so many games just go the distance nowadays. I feel like a lot of 20-minute plus games, a lot of back and forth 15-minute games, even scrappier games. We're really starting to see a lot more mid to late game kind of matchups happening. That's very exciting. I really like it. Really like it. Stargate, about to finish up here from DnS. It is built onto the south side of the map. We are going to be seeing this Oracle is just going to be Corona boosted up. And obviously rushed out here to try and get some early damage done. Now Namshar doesn't have his Spore Crawlers ready just yet because of course he isn't expecting this Oracle to hit as quickly. A lot of the times nowadays you expect the Phoenix first as well, which is also delayed the usual kind of Spore Crawler placement time. Spore will come down in the main base though. That's only because the Queen is starting to run away to deal with these Adepts. And the Adepts coming through. Well, one of them will go down at the least. But it's pulling this Queen so far out of position that the Oracle primed to get some damage done. However, Queen is not too far off and Spore is actually finished in the main. So for the Proxy Stargate, this is actually going to be the perfect time for defense. Namshar shuts this down. One drone lost. And that's going to be the Oracle pushed away off to the right hand side. And we've seen another gateway coming up on the front. A couple of assimilators are finishing. We are going to be seeing these workers jumping on in and getting to mining. Feelings are looking for the Stargate. I mean, they see the Oracle coming in from the right hand side here, so you must know it's somewhere along this direction. Twilight Council dropping down in the natural, of course, and DnS getting set up into that. The Robo facility from DnS is getting built up here as well. Sub user 9001 in the chat, thank you so much for the cheer 30. Appreciate the bits, mate. Every little helps. Thank you for the support. There's those Lings backing away out towards the center, and just going to be seeing the Templar Archives on its way down. The Robo facility too, so no messing around from DnS back at home. Straight into the Archives, straight into the Robo. It's going to be seeing this probe coming around the side to throw down the gateway as well. A couple of drones drop down here as the Oracles together to come in. I mean, they found 5 kills, 6 kills in total. That's not a lot from a Proxy Stargate though, is it? Obviously the negative of that is you lose power to your Stargate, you lose the potential to use that later, and that may open Namshar to maybe even use them, for example, Mutalisks on this map now. Something we did see him doing earlier on Eastwatch against Geralt, so that's something that kind of becomes maybe a bit more of a possibility. Now that there's a no Stargate, it's a bit harder to start, pumping out Phoenix to deal with Mutas. Well, these 2 Oracles are still going to be an issue for now, because they could scout a Spire if one was thrown down. A lot of Lings, by the way, and a Bane and Nest just finishing up. I think Namshar, I mean, what's his plan here? Is he planning to be aggressive? I mean, these Lings are going to find 4 Zealots. That's a great start to shutting down this third base and keeping DnS away from a third base for a while. Namshar's worker count is low, 46 only, but he's going to start drawing it up while he delays this third Nexus from dropping. DnS was about to build a pylon there just in case he thought the Lings were going to commit, but they didn't. A couple of Archons will start to come on in right now. And as these couple of Archons start to come on in, we will be able to see the Prism allowing for these couple of Archons to jump up into the War Prism. So, Archons into the War Prism are forged on the way out from DnS, and this charge upgrade is about to finish up. Zerglings will see the kind of the War Prism, of course. They want to stay on this side of the map, though, They want to try and keep up with the third Nexus maybe coming down, maybe even distract if DnS is serious about keeping his third Nexus alive. Archons actually pull back to deal with the Lings, which is also nice, right? Keeping the Archons on this side of the map. Namshar now getting his Hydralisks on the way up. +1 missile attack is on his way through as well. And finally, DnS is able to throw the third Nexus down after the 6-minute and 30-second marker of the game. It's kind of a late one. Sidestorm being chrono boosted here by DnS as Namshar getting out a lot of Hydras at the moment. DnS has to be so careful with this little kind of Zealot Archon attack. Ooh, well, Namshar has to be careful with Hydralisks. We'll have a few Queens coming in here. They're going to be looking to try and tank for the Hydras, of course. They're a little bit tankier. Transfusers obviously help to keep them alive as well. As we are going to be seeing DnS coming out in towards the center. A few Zerglings off over all the way to the right-hand side. A few Zerglings moving around here from Namshar Oracles. Going to be trying to get something done as well. We want to see a couple of Lings taking some damage. Again, Archons and Zealots just waiting to maybe be able to get something done here. Not finding anything just yet, though. Not finding any opportunities to get damage done at the moment as we see +1 and an Immortal on the way out. Centrifugal hooks coming through for Namshar. And the Evo Chamber from Namshar coming in on the back of this Nat mineral line. Going to go into his double upgrades. With Storm finishing, now we're in this position where, of course, DnS has that little bit of extra potential to fight. He has that little bit of extra potential to trade out. Zerglings are going to split in a couple of different directions. Again, a couple of Archons just setting up over here. The High Templars gathering together as well. One Zergling goes down. Killed off here nice and quickly. And those couple of Oracles are going to be moving forwards into the center to try and see what they might want to try and do as well. Queen here pushing those Oracles back for the moment, though. And drones from Namshar continuing on and along. You've seen the Oracle is taking a little bit more damage, and again these Hydras maybe going to try and come forward here to fight against the Oracle once again. Oracle really trying to figure out where to go to right now, as we see a couple of Cryptumors getting taken down. One Queen gets picked off here also, and well, still just these units of DnS trying to come forward and trying to get something done maybe in the next couple of moments. Both players are going to be a little bit cautious about attacking into the other right now, of course. Neither player really necessarily wants to fully commit on in. Namshar isn't going in towards a Lurker Den though, right? And that's something which he has done in previous games, so playing Lurkerless here. Going to be focusing much more so on Lingbane Hydra, a little bit more of a throw away the army composition in the sense of he's going to try and trade out again and again and again. The 5th base coming down the south. He played this style a lot more against Geralt, and eventually he wants to get up to the Broodlords as kind of a, you know, after keeping his opponent busy for so long by trading out of Lingbane Hydra, keeping him rebuilding Immortals and Archons, suddenly the Broodlords arrive and there's just no answer to them. That's how Namshar was playing the ZVP a little bit earlier today. Could very well be his plan here once again now, as Hydra's working their way through these rocks in the center. Opening up the map a little bit more once again now. A few Banes and Lings over here, picking off a couple of the Zealots. So they go down once more, and we do see the Lings getting a nice surround, another Zealot going down. And it's all some good stuff for the moment, as we do see this Prism still sat all the way off to the south side. Excuse me. A few Lings coming in and getting us around on a Zealot is a nice little something, as Namshar will be able to come into the top side. Maybe try and take a couple of fights in the near future. A few Photon Cannons coming up off to the left, and again, Lings, Banes, and Hydras of Namshar. Maybe they're going to try and take this fight, but the first storm's coming down. Namshar has to kind of quickly split away. Don't mind that for DnS. That seemed like a pretty good trade-off so far. Namshar's army to the left side just wasn't quite ready to strike in to get something done, which is a little bit of a shame, because coming into this position here, DnS does let himself be flanked up from the top left side. War Prism on the bottom left is going to survive, as the Queen with energy gets taken down as well, so no transfusions available. Things will come in to clean up, but will he get the War Prism now? I think he will, just with the last Queen shot. No way, it's just out of range. Hydras to the right hand side of the main, but look how much supply this is. That's 6 Hydras just sat here trying to deny a Prism. That's 6 less Hydras that are in the fight. Just the presence of this War Prism is so powerful for DnS at the moment. DnS will push on forwards as a little bit of Namshar's army goes to the left hand side to work its way through the rocks. Access towards the 4th base will be opened. A pathway to maybe get something done. So many cannons here, yes, but if the Banes collect correctly, they can take down a lot very easily. DnS splitting up in all different directions, making sure he has enough to deal with everything wherever Namshar comes in from. Nice storms on this ramp, that's absolutely huge. Those Hydras and Banes are disappearing. Namshar loses a lot over here. A few Hydras left over, but they're not going to be much of a match. This fight goes the way of DnS as well. Wow, Namshar loses a lot in that fight. 60 Lings reproducing, and DnS is just like, cool. You know, I win this fight. I set myself up into some carrier production. Once my carrier is up, this game is mine. DnS is going to be loving this position right now, as we do see the Lings and the Hydras coming through, picking off that Zealot. Nicely done. A few more carriers just coming on into play. All of these Zerglings coming in towards the upper side. Again, for Namshar, a lot of the time his plan is to try and just swarm. Oh my god, that was close. That would have been disastrous for DnS. Suddenly just, you know, Lings all over the mineral lines. It's so hard to start dealing with when that starts to happen. A lot of Zealots forced to warp in over here as Namshar continues to work his way through the wall off. He's actually sticking around for this, but now these Immortals are going to come in from the other side, so he has to leave. Meanwhile, some Zealots to the bottom side of the map are actually starting to be taken down. The Queens and Hydras are going to be here, and he is going to be able to defend. It costs him a few Queens, though. Hive on the way up. Is there a Spire on the way? No. So he isn't even looking towards Broodlords right now. If he is, it's not going to be perfectly synced up. Namshar with another few Banelings coming in. There's carriers coming up. The more Namshar just looks to try and break his way through Lingbane Hydra, the more unsuccessful he becomes later in the game. So he has to win this with this army in the next couple of minutes. And honestly, with the first few carriers out, maybe it's already a little bit too late. Some Lings top left will force a cancel. That's good. He can keep DnS down to 4 bases. That's one way of keeping this within reach for himself. He finds a couple of Zealots over here. That's good too. He backs away as storms drop. It's a much better fight or two from Namshar for a moment, as suddenly Banes blow up an entire right-hand side mineral line. I mean, that's the sort of fight that can go very well for Namshar. That's the sort of fight that does maybe turn things around a little bit for him here, in terms of being able to fight against the carriers and the rest of it. Now his Spire starts, but I wonder if that Spire is just a bit too late, because by the time it's finished and by the time it's a greater Spire, I mean, the carrier's already here. With the carriers already being here, that's going to be crazy. I mean, how do you fight against those? Probably don't even look towards the Broodlords. You're probably actually just looking for Corruptors here for something to help you take down these carriers. And that's going to be the issue, because Namshar does not have a way to fight that right now. He does not have a way to fight carriers, and I don't think he really has the money to get into Corruptors on a high enough scale. We're going to see a few Banes just rolling on forwards, and we are going to be seeing these Immortals and carriers cleaning up so far. Attacks to the right-hand side. I mean, Namshar's making some progress here and there, chipping away at bits and pieces of DNS. Some of these gateways going down, for example. Those High Templar, they have storms. There's one coming down, there's two. The second one doesn't hit anything at all. First one was actually pretty good. Got quite a few of the Hydras low on health. It makes it so much easier now for the rest of the units to come in to finish up that fight. Some Lings do make it into the main base. They get rid of the cannon, and of course now a few probes will start to go down. So Namshar able to find himself a little bit of damage here, but only a little bit. 2 probes. Killed the Cybercore in the process. Not sure how important that is for DNS. Means he can't start +1 flyer attacks, I guess, but he'll just replace it right there. And Hydra's off to the left-hand side. That Nexus and the Pylon. Have to be a little bit careful. Loving these consistent attacks from Namshar. To the left, to the right. He's just non-stop with this all the way through. This Nexus goes down. We are going to be seeing those Zergons from Namshar pulling away as well. Carries through their interceptors towards that army, but they have to pull back pretty quickly. Six more Corruptors on the way up. Greater Spire coming through here in the next few moments. A lot of Lings all the way over to the right-hand side now. Looking to run on by, and I mean, that army of DNS, this Nexus of DNS, I mean, it's wide open for attack, and Namshar is doing such a beautiful job of keeping DNS's economy low. Low enough, maybe, where if he can't rebuild enough, this game's going to be very difficult for him to actually close out. Oh, the Hydra's coming as DNS moves into the middle of the map as well. Suddenly, DNS is going to lose every single one of his bases. The Nexus gets targeted. I don't think he gets the kill before the warp in, and he does leave a few Hydras there to finish it, but he does pull back. So the recall comes down. Oh, but now those Hydras are a little bit stuck. How do you fight this as Namshar? Oh, he's got to get as much as he can out of this. I don't know if he does. His army supply is down in the gutter. Namshar, what does he have to fight carriers? He's on 80 army supply against 130. His anti-air is 6 Hydras and 9 Corruptors. DNS is losing so much, but I don't think it matters. Because as he moves across the map, Namshar just doesn't have what he needs to close out this game by killing the army. I mean, what else can he hope for here? His Lings are cleaned up on this side. Can he just base trade this until there's no buildings left? No, probably not. I mean, if he tries to, DNS just pulls back home. And Zealot weapons are so powerful as well. Here we go, the Corruptors will fly on in. There's a few more up now. They came out the production tab. First couple of storms aren't amazing, as the first carriers are starting to drop. In fairness, these Corruptors are getting a lot done. The Archons here need to try and help. They're finally coming back from the natural. Namshar's initial fight is okay. It kills a lot, but now Zealots are going to take down this base. I mean, there's still a couple of carriers up, and the biggest issue is he just doesn't have a ground army. I mean, maybe he can morph in. Did he get the Greater Spy? He did. Maybe he can morph in some Broodlords. He's going to make more Hydras to try and make this work out. These few Banes that are just kind of hiding away over here. I mean, they need to try and find something. Some Hydras in this corner as well. Namshar's trying to find whatever he can, but those Corruptors go down. Feels as though Namshar's maybe just... I don't even know. Kind of felt like they weren't even doing anything there. As we do see, well, 2 carriers remaining. The Hydras are going to try and fight it out. He's just not quite going to make it happen. DNS with the persistence. He had to just sit through and just say, be okay, you know, attack my bases again and again. The issue is the more units you throw away, the less chance you have of dealing with the late game carriers, and we knew this was going to be an issue for Namshar if he didn't deal with it soon enough, and he was so close to doing enough to deal with it. He was so close. He just didn't quite have enough there in the end, and now Namshar doesn't even have the tech structures to build anything else, to actually use up the rest of his money. 5 hatches, 2 spines, a spore, and an evo chamber or 2. He tries to build a spawning pool in the bottom right-hand side. There's just no way you actually clean out this entire army, though. This DNS is Well, he's got a cannon here, he's got a shield battery. This Archon will be found. Another Archon turns around to kind of fight against the shield battery. Will heal this one up a little bit at least. DnS just has enough. Namshar has to be starting to realize this in the next few moments as the cannon gets a kill and those lings go down. GG, well played. What a game, number 2. These guys are going at each other. 2 days of insane StarCraft action. If you enjoyed what you saw today, guys, remember I am back in 12 hours time with the WardiTV Invitational Group C. I'll be very excited to see you guys there. If some of you are up for even more StarCraft 2 action so soon, so do come check me out in about 12 hours for the WardiTV Invitational free. It'd be great to have you guys with me for what should be a lot more fun StarCraft 2 content all over again. But for now, to the bottom right hand side, the blue Zerg player, Namshar. And to the top left, the red Protoss from Cascade, DnS. One of these 2 players will qualify, the other will be eliminated. No WCS Challenger for them this season. It's a tough life. It's a tough life. Pull first obviously makes a lot of sense on this very short and aggressive map from Namshar. Into the hatchery as a follow-up. It is just going to be Gate Nexus core, it seems, for DnS, so he's not going to change his initial build too much. It's going to be very standard from him. See, Namshar's pull first on gas pool hatches, not really looking to be necessarily aggressive. Yes, it can be, of course, but it is something that you generally try to do just because you need to be a little bit safer on this map sometimes against the potential faster aggression of a Protoss player. So we'll see how this goes. Some dark ones with cheer 269 in the chat. Thank you so much for the cheer 269. Appreciate it. Nightless City Dog Tap now can't quite handle the last game of the day. I don't blame some of you guys. I mean, if you're watching over in Europe, obviously it's a 1 AM ending of this day right now, which is pretty legit. It's a pretty long day, pretty lengthy. Single Zerglin coming around top left hand side. Single Adapter shading forwards, and Walding is just chasing a probe away. Stargate starts up here from DnS. Again, so far it's actually a relatively standard game up until now in Abiogenesis, which doesn't happen all of the time. All the time you will see some weirder strats. Namshar has a lot of gas though. 200, didn't start link speed. Only has 1 worker in gas now. But what's that gas for? Why does he not feel the need for link speed here on Abio? User 9001, thank you for another cheer 60 in the chat, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Love the depths coming through. Will not actually commit to the shade. Going to stick around here to get rid of those couple of Zerglings, and they will be able to get rid of both. Or all 4, sorry, but one of these the depths is probably going to go down. Wow. Somehow it doesn't. I have no idea how. Adzi with the cheer 100 in the chat as well, saying you deserve this. Holy F, 9 hours. It's been a long one. Yesterday we did 10.5, today we do 9. I'm going to be busy tomorrow as well, guys. Tomorrow I cast both the WardiTV Invitational Free, Group C, and the Base Trade TV Star League Group. So I'm doing 2 streams tomorrow, even if only one of them is on the channel. Crazy. It's just like non-stop StarCraft 2 action at the moment. Couple of drones going down. Oh, third drone going down as well as Namshar takes some damage up in the main base. He's using his money to throw down a lair. The Rotron's about to finish. And he does eventually go into link speed as well, so... Twilight and a Robo. DnS is setting up into a position which is a couple more gateways. Looking so... I mean, this is like the most standard abiogenesis game you could ask for. You know, Namshar didn't start link speed for a while, but that was about it, you know? And that's not even the sort of way you expect this to go. Usually you expect it to be, like, aggressive differences, not more less aggressive differences to the usual games, so it's a little bit interesting. We are going to be seeing Robo about to finish up. The Temple Archives is coming through. 4 extra gates right now, 6 in total. We'll obviously use this as a way to tread himself towards that third Nexus here eventually. A lot of roaches on the way from Namshar now. Is this just a roach ling all-in? 38 drones. He's stopped roach production, drone production, sorry. Very well could be. One of those attacks where you can even bring the queens across the map. However, that revelation on the queens is actually very important because now, if he does move the queens across the map, DnS is going to know about it. Yeah, Namshar starts up another few drones. He's just made so many units. And yet now he's just going to go back into droning. Just going to be seeing one drone going down. We are going to see a couple more. Oracle's just finding some more damage here and there, keeping Namshar on a lower work count than the Protoss player. That's something DnS has to be somewhat happy about. Namshar still sees no third Nexus, and that may be what's keeping him up at night at the moment, or up and away from a, you know, from a kind of a heavier drone count. It's going down now. Namshar doesn't actually see it falling, but obviously the units moving over there does suggest that DnS has some intentions of taking it. Charge starts about 75% of the way done. Phoenix back over to the left. A couple of Archons about to load into the prism. Plus some missiles on the Evo chamber. These two Oracles and a Phoenix just moving around still. DnS keeping control of the map. Didn't lose much yet, just a couple of early adepts. Roach speed about to finish up. Namshar is... I don't know. I don't know if it's not if I'm just tired or if this really is just crazy, but I'm not really seeing this one honestly so far. Not really seeing what Namshar's game plan is, just sticking on such a low drone count all the way through. We are going to be seeing a couple of drones getting picked off once again. The Archons coming in here and again, just harassing away. And DnS is heading up into that army composition that we've seen time and time again. Queen will just not go down. Last shot of the Archon gets it. It was a little bit of a chasing game there. Creeper is going to be insane through the middle, of course. We'll cover the majority of the map. That warp prism actually nearly fell. It's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. A few queens about to pop out here. The roaches as well. The +1 missile attack upgrade. These units continuing through the top side. Couple of Oracles and the Phoenix is pushed away to the left. And again, this army of Namshar just coming all the way up to the top. Storm now finished, but does Namshar push in with Roach Ravager? I mean, obviously he's playing Roach Ravager rather than Hydras here. Storm is still good against this, although I definitely think it's not as good as against Hydras, because of course, you know, the Hydras are a little bit weaker in general. Let's see, I mean, the corrosive bars pop their initial force fields. The Zealots are just doing such a good job of running in, and DnS. His Archons are getting so much done right now. The Zealots continue to fight on into this, and Namshar, well, the Roaches and Ravagers are going to be taking a little bit of damage off the Oracles. Those Oracles are insanely good at the moment, picking up a bunch of Ravager kills. I don't know, man. Namshar didn't really kill much there at all. We go to the units lost tab. He lost a Sentry and Zealots. Zealots don't matter right now for DnS. They're so replaceable. It's the Immortal count that's important, the Archon count. Namshar is going up against a very, very difficult to beat army. You'll be seeing some Lings streaming up the right-hand side of the map, looking to keep on attacking in from a couple different directions. Going to come on forwards here, and they are going to find themselves a couple of Zealots. A couple of Oracles and a Phoenix to the far right side of the map as well. As we do have Roaches of Namshar and Ravagers. I mean, he's got to be looking for another fight. Or is he? Is he just going to say, now, well, that didn't go well, I just try and tech into Hydras and Lurkers probably? And he probably goes straight towards the Lurker Den, right? Because I think he needs something beyond just the Roach Ravager, potentially even Hydra Force. Roaches will get their way through in towards the natural and main. And this is a nice little bit of a run-by potential here, right? I mean, he's going to be able to kill that sentry before it actually does anything. A mistake by DnS. Good amount of Immortals peel away to deal with it, though. 2 into the main, 2 into the natural. And it's a good number. I don't think DnS is going to be losing much more than he should. I mean, 8 probes, though. These Immortals take a little while to chew through the roaches, just because it took them a little while to actually catch up more than anything else. 11 probes down, and we do see coming across down the right side, actually a little bit of a push forward from DnS. Yeah, at least wants to get rid of some of this creep spread. Sick of Namshar having so much of the map control to just move around wherever he wants to. Groove Spine's on the way up on the Hydralus Den. Immortals, Archons of DnS all gathering together and moving into the center. We've only seen a couple more creep tumors getting picked away at, and you're all going to have the Namshar, Queens of Namshar just sat there and thinking about maybe pushing away some more of these DnS units, but he has to find a fight, and I just don't know if Namshar can. I'd be really impressed if he finds a way to beat this army, because the Roaches, the Ravagers, they're just not designed to beat an army like this with no real support, and we've just seen DnS take the previous fight so well. I think this one's going to look so similar. Zealot starts charge on forwards. The first fields initially are good, and even if the Ravagers can pop them, it's already cost him a few Roaches here. Across the map, there is some Roaches doing some run-by damage, which is nice. It's taking Warpins away from the fight, and some units have to peel away to deal with the run-by into the natural expansion. Namshar's losing his 3rd base. Namshar is starting to lose his 4th as well, probably. At the very least here, DnS just goes up this ramp, kills the 4th base, and then he's already kind of taken Namshar down to 2 bases, and he's in a fine spot to continue on. He can maybe even recall home from this if he wants to, but I don't know if he needs to. The Roaches are just destroyed by these Immortals here. A couple corrosive bars bring a Ravager low, and he will get the kill on that one at least, but Namshar down to 2 bases, and he is looking weak here in terms of being able to move into the WCS Challenger. It's been a long, hard-fought day for Namshar. He had a long day yesterday as well. He was knocked out by Snoot just a couple of rounds before the lower bracket qualification match. And now, he came all the way in the lower bracket here today, but he's going to continue just not having enough. And DnS has been so close so many times in these qualifiers. This is the 4th qualifying match he's been in. Every possible time he could have tried to qualify, he could have qualified. He's had that chance, but now he's going to be the final player to qualify for the WCS EU Challenger. And of course, that event starts this Saturday and Sunday, in case you guys were wondering. Units continuing down towards the south side. Roaches and Ravagers will split up just a little bit. And Namshar does not have the army he needs to fight against this, and DnS does not care about Corrosive Bowels any longer. He knows he's got enough. Splits up a little bit now. The Corrosive Bowel just isn't going to do it. And Namshar is losing his natural. A few Archons to the top side of fighting the Roaches on their own. I mean, why not? The rest of the army is just getting rid of the base, and Namshar will be losing everything he's got here in this base. And Namshar, one of the names we expect to see in the Challenger events, is just not quite going to be able to do it here. DnS, we said he matched up best when he played against more standard players, and that's definitely been true in this series. But I really just can't see how Namshar imagined this game going with the way